darling. Oh, what a motherfucking 2020 is. Hey. Oh my God. God, this energy out here is crazy as hell. Look. Yeah, I had to just bring it the fuck on in for a minute because these motherfucking low levels wilding out here right now. What Cardi say these bitches is press. Oh, they press. But that's okay. You know, I used to it. I definitely appreciate your patience though. I had to close that energy portal off. I had to for the safety of everybody. But we about to get into this shit now. Now, look here. Well, we're looking at your questions, so you trying to get me on some whole other shit now. Nah. Yeah, I definitely had to make sure everything was right for this shit here. This gonna be spicy. Your shit starts sizzling like that back there. Okay. Now, feel your ancestors around you. It's gonna be spicy as hell. We want to start off by thanking the angels, the masters, karma, the first mother, spirit, and the most high for the messages that you're about to receive. They are the true and the best interest of the person requesting. My good sis wants to know about her family curses. Holy Spirit out first. There was a lack of balance with the divine feminine energy in your family. The wheel of fortune is still spinning because there are certain ancestors that passed that never had their heyday, had their chance to shine. I mean, of course, we had slaves and everything like that, but even in the family dynamic, I don't think a lot of women like have the voice or have the platform like we do these days to speak about things spiritual and things spiritual that they were going through and experiences that they had at the risk of being fucking burnt at the stake, because that's the type of shit, that's the type of time that was on back then. So your ancestors are worried about your bloodline because they're like, nobody's stepping up. And so that's where you come in. Okay. And the Holy Mother definitely wants to help you with that. They need you on the chariots. They feel like your energy alone is enough to stimulate the energy of the rest of the people in the family. You leading by example with the God card. These were some very, very strong women, but again, I feel like they were very suppressed. They're talking to me about pain and loss, children being taken away from them on plantations, children being sold, inbred, a lot of inbreeding, a lot of mixing with close relatives, being taken advantage of. There's a lot of hurt there. As far as the ancestors of old, the ones that were slaves, it's very, very important that you do some healing work with them because they need that comfort. They're in an energy of pain and loss, and there were some that were tortured to death. There's some that died in childbirth. There were some with stillborns. I feel like they were overbred for whatever natural characteristics that your family have, whether it be, they said their kings were taken away from them, their men were taken away from them, their children, whether it be strong, broad shoulders to work in the field, or beautiful women to, work in the house. Your ancestors are very, very pissed off about slavery, sis. And so there are a lot of them that ascended and made it to the holy house by God's grace. But there are a lot of them that are still in purgatory. and haven't been able to get that shit, you know, shaken loose. But they do have gifts for you. They have spiritual gifts for you, specifically divination. They're needing you to do deep cleansing. Ancestors, thank you. Yeah, what they need you to do the most. Dealing with that pain and loss that's in the bloodline. It's affecting a lot of the women that are alive and breathing in your bloodline right now. Just a lot of loss, a lot of black. They're wanting you to heal that shit, sis. So naming, yeah, baby. Okay. They said the devils took them off their thrones. So I'm not even just talking about like ancestors, like maybe from 1904 or something, you know, like 1860. I'm talking about the ones that just got here, like, what the fuck? What the fuck? They said the devil took them off their thrones. And they said, saying that if you turn away from the world and balance yourself, that you'll have the strength to hear them. But because stress came out here twice, sis, with this conflict, I want to let you know something. It's going to be very, very important when you go down this rabbit hole, because I want to cry. When you go down this rabbit hole, you need to be cleansed, you need to be balanced, your chakras need to be in alignment, and every motherfucking thing else, because what they're going to show you is fucking horrific. It is. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. And when you're able to hear them, they'll be able to come through you. They'll be able to speak through you. There were some very, very high level sorceresses in the bloodline. So divination comes naturally to you guys. Doing some research on the ancestors, trying to name some of them. A lot of them don't want to let this shit ride, though. It's a few that want some motherfucking blood. I ain't even gonna start. They're telling you to do the introspection so that you can tap into them and tap into the light the light workers, because there are some that just want you to just go. What Uzi said, I set this bitch out, head ass type shit. Uzi, brrrr, get the blicking. They like, y'all got guns now. Fuck. Okay, so yeah, this one's mad. This lady's mad than the motherfucker. Fuck is you talking about? She fighting mad, still fucking fighting mad, and she's in purgatory because she ain't. I'm gonna burn some movie in for you, ma'am, so you can just simmer down a bit. I hear you. Okay. Please come to me peacefully. So there are ones that had no motherfucking problem practicing dark arts, and then you have the light workers. For you, I'd say the balance is going to be important because you could inherit either. You could tap into either. So you be careful with that. The ones that did the dark arts, I feel like they need to be healed as well. And I feel like the ones that dabbled in the dark arts are having the hardest time removing themselves out of purgatory and getting into a place where they're sitting in with the angelic host. This is going to be a test for you, whether or not when the ancestors start bringing these downloads and showing you like how to really fuck some shit up, if you'll divulge it. Okay. The ascended masters, the ones that have ascended, said that they need offerings, and they really kind of just said that shit with attitude because these cars fell on the floor. So working with your ancestors right now is really the most important thing that you can be doing. unrequited anger here, sis. There's a lot of anger here in this bloodline. You're definitely going to have to practice your light work energy. But the wheel of fortune is still turning because there's a lot of confusion here. I think this is taking place with certain members in your family as well. But at the same time, this is affecting the ascension, and this anxiety and this thirst for revenge is affecting their placement in the holy with the angelic hosts. So you need to be careful with that. This could infect your kundalini, so you need to be careful with that. Think very, very carefully about what you're going to be breathing life to, because once these ancestors come to you, they're going to be popping shit. And quite frankly, I feel like there's some shit that's going on in your life that they want to pop shit with too. You know what I'm saying? I'm just making you aware of what the situation is. All things in duality. Do what you're guided to do, because sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But at the same time, be very careful with that energy. To be back on their throne through you would be a blessing, is what they're saying. Okay. Ascended ancestors. Even the ascended ones are speaking about a lot of tragic deaths. There's also a lot of domestic violence here. There's some domestic violence that took place in the bloodline as well. I feel like some of this low-level and demonic energy kind of infected some of the women in the family. I see domestic violence here. I feel like a lot of this low-level shit like really got to a lot of women in the family. That's why the Wheel of Fortune is still turning on whether or not, you know, the bloodline will be lifted up again in its rightful place with the Empress card and the Aphrodite card. This is going to be hard work. Any stagnation that you have pertaining to this is offensive to all of them collectively. The Wheel of Fortune is still turning on whether or not you're going to be in the Chariot. Because to listen to the ancestors and honor them like the one that just came through and was like, to kill every motherfucking body, blick these hoes. I said what she, said to say. I honored her. I gave her an offering so that she could subside a little bit so that I could talk to the other ancestors. Because everybody wants to be heard, especially those that are in purgatory. Everybody wants to be heard, but just because you're being heard doesn't mean that you'll be like your bidding will be done. It's a difference. So having that balance with that, my cat done fuck my shit up. Having that balance with that and planting the proper seeds for the things that you want to grow. Planting the proper seeds for the things that you want to grow in the bloodline, for what you want to see. The downloads that you want to have. You need to get specific with them. I would say don't ignore any of the ancestors. Listen to them all, but be very mindful about the influence because there's a lot of bitterness there. The ones that are bitter, the ones that don't want to leave, the ones that are in purgatory, help them heal by listening to them and sending them love, care, concern, and light so that their energy can be lifted, and tell them to go to the light. You're going to do the proud. You understand? So, and then do that. And then do that. And then do them proud. They're not certain that that's going to happen for them. They're angry at the placement of this bloodline. I feel like this is a lot of maternal, more so than with your father. I feel like this is more on your mother's side. There's confusion about justice. There's confusion about whether or not you guys are going to come out of this shit. They need a champion, sis. This is going to take years. They felt like they were, holed out and taken advantage of. Whereas there should have been divine unions and holy matrimony here. There was just a lot of lust for their physical form. Which brought on a lot of anxiety and confusion, which has been passed down in the bloodline. This shit needs to be unpacked one situation by one situation by one. I would say definitely consider doing some ancestry tests and naming some of these ancestors and working with the energy individually. Each one has a different gift for you. Each one has a different message for you. Each one has their own story as well. And that story should be honored because it is what happened and what made you who you are. Mindfulness and discernment is really going to play a big part of this. And then that's what you need to know. You're hurting. And question 3, I don't know if we're asking about somebody in particular, but what I did here when I first looked at that question was I never even made it. I never even made it with my family. I'm in the fucking sea. So there are specific ancestors that just died on a voyage, and their bodies are at the bottom of the sea. Skeletons are at the bottom of the sea. And so you can honor them by going there, giving offerings. They definitely want to be named. That'll bring some peace and balance to those. There are also some ancient ancestors that are fighting fucking mad because they feel like they were betrayed by their kinsmen. There's one ancestor that knew this shit was gonna happen. She tried to warn some folks about this shit. She was a light worker. I don't know where you guys are from. I mean, I don't know where your ancestry goes back to. But before they were captured, there was one that was particularly radiant. And she tried to warn like everybody else about what was going to happen, and nobody would listen to her. And so she's like, see, I fucking told y'all stupid asses that we were being misguided. Let me tell you something. This one, so beautiful. This is who you need to be working with. All of that magic. From you to your mama, to your grandma, to your great-grandma, everything, it all came from her. She said her mother lived to be 123. Something about working with the tree of life and immortality. These were very, very powerful people. These were very, very powerful women. These women practice a lot of high level sorcery that hasn't been tapped into for centuries. A century. Cleanse yourself. Listen. Cleanse and listen. Cleanse and listen. They want to reveal, but you have to be in an energy where you're listening. These was motherfucking goons. You hear me? These was motherfucking goons. See, we think we know what the fuck gooning is. They said they got set up. This one, they didn't catch her. They caught her, everybody else though. But she knew they was coming. She didn't get captured. But her fire fizzled out when they took her family. Ooh wee. She spent the rest of her life with Christ. She said that she could still feel them every day. The pain, the suffering, the longing. Some were so intricately connected that she could feel them dying. She was communicating telepathically with some of them as well. That grief poisons your bloodline. These ancestors had a lot of land. These ancestors had a lot of resources. They knew how to cultivate the land. They had riches. They had empires. And they were betrayed because there were other tribes that wanted it. Ancestors, what guidance do you have for my good sis? The ancestors are saying that you need to go inside of yourself and activate this DNA and activate this string that still tethers you to her, because she is you. They need a champion. They need a champion to breathe life back into the bloodline to get back to business. The death card. Ancestors. I want you to know that there will be justice for some things that you're confused about right now and some things that you need clarity on. There is somebody that is misguiding you, somebody that's lying to you and keeping you confused. It could be a friend, but I do feel like it's family. But again, the bloodline has been poisoned. You need to have compassion for the confusion. The way of that was woven, however the fuck you say it. Have compassion. There's despair. And people deal with despair by causing it upon others. You need to be patient with your family. But you need to also be a leader and be strong with your family as well. Too many influences around you. Your ancestors need an offering so they can help you balance your higher self and your lower self so that the balance can be there. That's your higher self and that's your lower self. That's the balance card. And this is the offering for the ancestors. So they're trying to get you where you're trying to be, but the Wheel of Fortune is still turning on whether or not you're going to get on the Chariot. There's another young woman that's in the family. I don't think she's older than 17. Looks very, very maidenish. Very young. She has a natural gift. She received a lot of characteristics and power from the book as well. You need to be working with her. You need to be protecting her. I asked them about a male champion, a masculine energy in the bloodline. I don't think there is one. I think it's in the line for it to happen. But they don't want to bring him in and fit their environment. So the male champion is waiting for some of this shit to clear up, to come through. He's waiting for the bloodline to be cleansed. Waiting for all of this unrequited drama and dumb shit to clear up. Wheel of Fortune with these gifts, specifically divination. Somebody's Kundalini is going to have to raise. The divine feminine has to raise its vibration to welcome in the masculine energy that is going to bring the family out of this state. cemeteries that have been built on top of. Why is it out here? Okay. So we have the Divine King here with balance. And spiritual gifts being given to others, which could mean that a lot of people, or maybe you, or historically in the bloodline, there have been a lot of givers and more energy. Okay, so there was a champion deceased. And ascended, double ascended like a motherfucker. Okay. I hear you. His name was Carl. He want his shit activated inside of you too. This is gonna require a lot of solitude for these ancestors to come through. So the last champion wasn't Carl, it started with a C for sure, but I heard Carl. But he did the vibration of the bloodline, but he didn't do everything that he set out to do. So you have, yeah. He said that he was taken advantage of out here too, and brought a woman in the bloodline that shouldn't have been. He worked hard, but got taken advantage of a lot in his life. He was misguided as well. That's the generational curse. Being misguided and being taken advantage of. The ancestor said. Being taken advantage of financially as well. So he got with a bitch that wasn't shit. Girl, you ain't shit. The family structure needs to be solidified. Some shit needs to be brought to light. Some forgiveness and some compassion needs to happen. There should be a family night, whether it be every week or whether it be every month, where the family gets together so that everybody knows everybody and everybody knows what's going on with everybody. Planning things with the family reunions and everything like that. There are a lot of people that have been put into this family, children that have been born from other bloodlines, that your direct ancestors are a little irritated with. Some people blocking some shit. They definitely want to be named. You need to do that ancestry test. Try to name some of these ancestors. And if you can't name them all, you can call on your ancestors named and unnamed. And you can, you'll see them. Because they're already there. But they do want you to do your research on some of them. And see who the fuck we was. But there was a lot of being taken advantage of. A lot of not putting the family first. A lot of lowered vibrations. A lot of bad seeds sown, which created a lack of balance, which created drama. Your ancestors looking like, what the motherfuck? And now they on the other side, trying to fight this shit off and make better results for y'all. Family dynamic needs to be worked on. It's gonna take a lot of hard work for this shit, sis. I say 3 years, but I feel like you can do it. And I feel like once you start getting in that vibration and really working with your family and working towards healing, working towards bringing some of this negative shit that's happening in the darkness to the light, I feel that there are a lot of family members that you have that you don't even fucking know. I feel like you're gonna connect with a lot of them when you do your ancestry. Bring your people close to you. Everybody's been separated for too long. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. I was gonna pull from the Oracle deck, but they want you to focus on this. I'm here if you have any questions, sis. The one that didn't get captured, she needs to be worked with. If you meditate on her, she'll contact you. The masculine energy that was here, that got taken advantage of, he used to wear a lot of motherfucking suits, cleaned in a motherfucker. And he got fucked over by a bitch, by a raggedy bitch. Seduced. And that fucked some shit up too. When the bloodline was coming up out of this shit. They say you got family out here that you don't know. And everybody needs to be brought together because they've been separated too long. This is what they want from you. Thank you so much.